16-year-old Kipling Kinkle, suspected of murdering 2 schoolmates and very possibly his parents.
Their bodies finally removed from Columbine High in the darkness of night.
The devastating effects of psychotropic drugs like Ritalin and Prozac on school children has riveted public attention. There are hundreds of hours of news time devoted to the alarming problem of guns in schools. But are drugs and guns the real source of the problem?
They cannot understand how 2 well-brought-up youngsters who had everything, you know, they lived in affluent families, 2-parent families, everything that we are told is provides the best kind of background and environment for children, and yet these 2 youngsters conceived a plan to murder their fellow students and to destroy the school. And people are shocked. What they don't understand is what has been happening psychologically to these kids. You have all of these crazy psychologically skewed courses like death education, etc., being taught, and no investigation has been done on this. The only thing they're talking about is, you know, guns. Where did they get their guns? Well, the thing you want to know is, why did they want guns to begin with? You know, what drove them to do what they did?
School violence is the result of the peer group usurping the authority of the parent. The authority of the parent is gone. The authority of the adult is gone. The adult is no longer guiding or leading the child. Therefore, the peer group is doing it. This is the result of psychology. This is not just the result of psychology. This is what psychology promotes actively and has promoted for 35 years. And it has culminated in epidemic school violence.
Dr. Lauren Mosier resigned from the American Psychiatric Association, saying that he could no longer square his conscience with being a member, since they had so totally sold out to the pharmaceutical industry.
In many cases before the guns, there was psychiatric treatment and drugs. Many find it hard to believe that psychiatrists could or would create such damaging effects on our children and educational system, but the proof lies in their own public statements. This 1965 report came from a psychiatrist who said, quote, "All children who were given LSD daily for 1 month were said to have improved. Side effects, toxic reactions, and regressive behavior were not encountered. The findings indicated most favorable results." Contrary to assertions in the popular press, when LSD is administered as part of a therapeutic medical program, irreversible psychotic changes and brain damage do not occur. Certain irresponsible statements that it does produce such adverse effects have not been supported by valid scientific evidence. Like any other drug, LSD belongs in the hands of responsible medical authorities.
People can't believe that physicians, that the medical profession would do this to them. That's one reason this thing has grown to such colossal proportions. And they're not even finished yet.
In the late 60s, when public outcry eventually made LSD illegal, the psychiatric community moved on to other psychotropic narcotics and now continues to express this same line of reasoning today with drugs like Prozac, Luvox, Paxil, and the list goes on. One of the most highly prescribed drugs for children is methylphenidate, also known by its brand name as Ritalin. Psychiatrists reveal in their own handbook, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 3R, that methylphenidate is in the class of amphetamine drugs, and according to them, quote, "Controlled studies have shown that experienced users are unable to distinguish amphetamine from cocaine. One of the few differences between the two classes of substances is that psychoactive effects of amphetamine last longer and its effects may be more potent," unquote. Again, this is the psychiatrist's own handbook written by them. Yet a recent report from the Mayo Clinic claims 5 million children in the United States take Ritalin. And because of public outcry, the American Psychiatric Association has modified their statements in recent editions of DSM. The drugs cannot get into the mouths of children without the help of psychiatrists and psychologists. But how do they continue to do this despite their own admission that the drugs are harmful?
PCP was put out as a drug that was considered to be very safe and effective, and yet find a police officer anywhere today that's going to believe that. And you won't. If we've made this kind of mistake in the past, I believe firmly that we're just as capable of making that bad a mistake now, or worse. And yet, people are continuing to take these medications, and they're putting their children on them. 17-year-old boy jumped off a freeway overpass, and another one hung himself in his room on Prozac. 14-year-old. Another one on Paxil shot himself after 4 days on the drug. And there's so many. The list is so long. Got a 14-year-old girl who drank Drano in a suicide attempt after 1 month on Paxil. I have heard that they get matching federal funds for every child that is diagnosed as learning disabled. There's other reports around the country where they have documented through testing that the IQ has dropped drastically for children on these medications.
There's a whole multitude of troubles that can hook the kid into the so-called mental health system. And once he gets in, it's almost impossible to get him out. So what we have at the end of it is where a group of quasi-professional people put a stamp on a kid's forehead without proper understanding of what's really going on, and they look for a quick and dirty solution, which as often as not is drugs.
Eric Harris in Littleton, Colorado, who led the massacre in Columbine High School, he was on Luvox. The youngster in Conyers, Georgia, T.J. Solomon, was on Ritalin. We know that Kip Kinkle in Springfield, Oregon, who killed his parents and shot 22 in the school, killed 2 others, he was on Ritalin and Prozac. He had ADD, dyslexia, and major depressive disorders. Not one of them a real disease. The children are blamed, and then the children are victimized for profit by labeling them with these pseudoscientific psychiatric labels, and then by drugging them.
911, where's your emergency? There's been a shot at Westside High School, middle school. Been what? There's been a shot at Westside Middle School. Okay, all right. We need an ambulance as soon as possible. Okay, hold on just a second, ma'am. Do you know who done the shooting? No, we do not. Okay, was it another student, or do you know? I don't know. Okay. We get an ambulance as soon as possible. Ma'am, we've got an ambulance anyway. I've got it. There's blood loss. There's lots of blood loss. Okay, we will get someone out there. Thank you very much. 911, where's your emergency? We're having an emergency at Westside Middle School. And we've got everybody en route. Everybody's en route. Okay, just be somewhere where it's safe. Okay. Stay inside. Okay. Stay inside, okay?
Guns and drugs are not the source of the problem. If you have children in school, make it clear to the teachers and school officials that you refuse to have your child referred to any psychologist or psychiatrist or be put on psychiatric drugs for any reason whatsoever. Healthy children are often curious, active, and adventurous, but may need additional academic tools. If your child is being targeted as having a learning or emotional disability, don't allow them to be labeled. Seek an educational, disciplinary, or non-psychiatric medical or nutritional answer. A back-to-basics solution can always be found.